Hello, and welcome to the show. This is the podcast that drinks and knows things with your host, Abby. Hello, and welcome to the show. This is the podcast. Somebody's got something on.
It was Glenn.
Glenny. Oh, shoot.
Not
Well,
so
tonight
loud,
we
but-
are we're recording our episode, The Red WILF. The Red WILF. The Red WILF. The Red WILF. We're recording tonight on November 27th, 2018. Season 6, Episode 1. The Game of Thrones title is The Red Woman. Listen to the Drinks and Knows podcast on Radio Public. It's free, easy to use, and helps listeners like you find and support shows like ours. When you listen to our show on Radio Public's Android or iOS app, everyone benefits. Next box says introductions. Welcome, co-hosts and guests. What are you drinking? No, just kidding. Hi, Glenn of House Dog.
Hi, I am drinking a beer.
Yay. Ben, aka Sly of House McLean.
Hello, I am drinking not Shock Top tonight. I got Hell on High Quad Bock Belgian style beer, which has a 14% ABV. So probably
Benji
going to
won't
be
be
my
with
only
us
one.
very long.
Yes. Lucan of House Black Meat. How you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm very
Glad
good.
you could be back. We missed you last episode.
I missed not being there. I did. That's a good one. Are you drinking? Or you got water
I am.
tonight?
I am, and I've got 6 Mile Bridge Irish Red Ale in theme for the Red Woman.
Really like that bottle or can. Nice coloring. And we have a guest tonight, Sir Joe Buckley. Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
Good, I'm good. I hear it's like, the middle of the night where you are.
Yeah, 1:30. Just when we get going here.
So are you waking up and drinking or drinking still or just knowing?
Definitely no knowing, but everything else.
Okay, perfect. That sounds great. And I am Abby, Gertie of House Condescension. Tonight I have hard ciders. I don't remember what it was called.
It's
But I
cider,
have
it's hard.
It's hard. It's cider because I have the mug life.
There you go.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. So this show and all of our shows at thepodcastat.com are produced with the love and support of our wonderful Imaginary Legion patrons. Learn more about our rewards tiers at patreon.com/stayimaginary. So Joe, hi, sorry. So can you tell us about any current projects or where people can find you to look you up and about what you do?
Yeah, sure. If you want to find me, you'll have to come over to England. But if you want to use the old internet, you can find me at Sir Buckley on the old Twitter. I guess my most important project at the moment, I just started my own podcast, venturing out into your world. It's the Isle of Faces podcast, and basically what we're doing is kind of a biography series on all the great people of our fandom, like yourselves, like History of Westeros and all those. I was lucky enough to have a first episode with Davos Fingers about 3 weeks ago, and they were great. So hopefully go and give that a listen, and you'll think the same.
That's super cool. So just for us Americans over here, it might just be me. I do not represent the majority. They're much smarter than I am. Sir is SER to find you on Twitter, not
That's
SIR.
right.
Okay,
No,
let's find the right
copy
one.
and George.
Gotcha. All right, so we need a previous episode recap. It looks like that's you, Luke.
Yeah, so last episode, season 5 finale, we had Stannis loses everything. Sansa and Theon take a leap of faith. Arya has eyes only for Meryn fucking Trant. Myrcella tastes the kiss of death. Jorah and Dari 2.0 team up while Tyrion settles into rule. Daenerys is rescued by a horde. Cersei bears it all. And the Night's Watchmen really have Jon's back. Yeah, and so since Abby and Joe were unable to join us last episode, but both were trying their hardest to, we're going to give them up the opportunity to tell us what was your least favorite thing for the season 5 finale, Abby?
Now she's blind. What the fuck? Really? Slash, because you only get one. So I just slash or hyphened or whatever Luke's favorite thing is, some colon, I don't know. Anyways, Oxford comma, I don't know. He says all these things. Who knows? The audio track behind Cersei's walk, did anybody else, I don't know if you guys touched on this at all. It was like on loop.
Mm-hmm. It was a modified version of Reigns.
Bitch. Like,
it was a modified version of Reigns of Castamere.
On a loop.
No,
Yeah.
like the voices behind it, like the people yelling in the background.
Fuck off.
No, yeah. Like it just kept every about, I don't know, 12 seconds. It would be the same guy saying, fuck off. Like that's just all I noticed. I'm like, geez, that guy's like walking with her.
Exactly. Over and over again.
Yeah.
Joe, what was your least favorite thing about the season 5 finale?
I was going to cop out and say anything to do with Dawn, but I won't. I think the most uncomfortable is just anything with Meryn Trant, really, considering what you see with him and those 3 girls. Even though you know one of them's Arya, it's just uncomfortable viewing. You just don't want to watch him.
It is ugly.
Not for me.
All right, Joe, coming right back to you. What was your favorite thing about last episode?
I think you guys touched on it actually, but it's our good old friend Davos when he finds the little horse and just that shot of him putting 2 and 2 together at the same time the horn blows. That'll do it for me.
Abby?
My favorite thing was Brienne being the one to end Stannis.
I thought you'd like that.
I liked it a whole lot. Not just because Stannis, I mean, that could have just taken the cake for me because I'm pretty angry at him at this point. So him being, taken away from my view is very good, in my opinion. But Brienne getting to uphold her vows that she's made to herself, it's just like this character who, Arya is like a character I was just all in at the very beginning. Brienne has just grown and grown and grown on me. It's just like this feeling of satisfaction. You like that? Satisfaction that she gets to actually get the kill shot. So I liked that.
Nice.
Oh, hey.
Right, cool. So, Abby, take the reins back.
Thank you. This is season 6, episode 1. Episode duration was 50 minutes. Air date, April 24th, 2016. Director was Jeremy Padawaz. Yeah, exactly. And it was written by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. Episode description, Benj.
Season 6 premiere. At Castle Black, Thorne defends his treason while Ed and Davos defend themselves. Sansa and Theon race the cold and the hounds.
Yeah, very true. All those things may happen. I have a question. I'm very sorry. I lost it on my really fancy notes. Sorry, chat. Give me a second. It's closer to the top here. Where's my list of favorite people?
No, we haven't frozen.
Okay, sorry. Well, it was weird. Nobody responded. Anyways, Cersei says
you gotta introduce the segment.
What? Oh,
just do that later.
It's time for Quill and Tanker Pub Trivia.
I love the excitement. Thank you.
Thinking caps on, folks. Joe, do you know how this works? Do you have a sheet?
Say it to me just in case.
Just in case, if you have the sheets up, you will type your answer into your beautifully pink colored box. Yeah. Do not hit enter until we say hit enter. So, question is, Cersei says to Jaime that the witch told her that this would happen. This was not his fault. She says, I would have 3 children and 3 would die. And what is the last part of that sentence? And what else about them?
Can you say that again real quick?
Yes. So Cersei says that the witch told her she would have 3 children, 3 would die, and something else the witch says. The last part of what the witch told her. Let's just complete this sentence. And blank, blank, blank.
Okay. I think I follow where you're going with, but
Or I could go with a camera operator. I do know his name too, if you'd like to do that one from the
One of
credits.
the camera operators from the credits.
Yeah.
all right. You ready?
Sure. I'm not in charge of the music.
Ready? Good.
Sure.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
3, 2, 1, enter. Alrighty, yep, okay. And gold their shrouds. However else she says it. But, hey, looks like we got a bench. Luke? Joe? Point, point, point.
And so Joe's point is a point for Abby in the long-term game.
I
As a
really
first-time
should
watcher.
get a hold of all these people when I'm, whoever our guest is when I'm hosting.
Just-
Just feed them the questions.
Whoa, that's...
Happy to make the assist.
Yep. That's actually what happened tonight. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Sorry, Glenn Dog.
Oh, no problem. I can't really think of it. So
Yeah, I was like, wait, because I remember the line. I was like, gold will be their crowns and gold will be their shrouds. And I'm like, and then you're like, and then what? And I'm like, what? That's
Sorry.
what confused me. I was like,
It's. I wrote it down because I was confused when she was writing or saying it, and then I
Yeah.
found out I was hosting, which has been set up. That's my fault, everybody. But I was like, hey, we'll use that. So,
well,
there we
and
go.
here's the thing. They talk about the prophecy, the 3 children, golden hair, but she mentions the black-haired kid she had first.
Bench, it's in my notes.
the notes.
It's in my notes. I'm not saying you're wrong or right. I'm just saying I had the same question.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay, so let's get this episode started for reals. We are going to the opening. Peter Dinklage. We go to King's Landing, Winterfell, The Wall, Bravos, Marine, Dorne.
Yep, nothing new there.
Nope.
Joe, do you
No.
still watch the credits at all, or are you a skipper?
I don't skip, but I do wander through the veil that is my mind.
Okay, so we're gonna go to Castle Black first. We have John's corpse, Ghost, Davos, Ed, Mel, Thorne, fucking Ollie, Bowen, Marsh, Yarwick, and the Night's Watch men, or the Northwestern men, as it's abbreviated here. Davos finds a cold snow. Ed and loyal men shelter the body and bring in Ghost for some assistance. Mel is upset by her false flame prophecy. Thorne tries to rally the remaining brothers, and Ed heads off for some needed backup. Hey, Glenn, take us away here.
Sure. So we see not much time has passed since the end of last season, but it seems like all the turncoats kind of went to the bar, grab a beer real quick, and just kind of celebrate the the
Job well
stabbings
done.
and stuff. And we do see the body being intercepted by Davos and the boys. So I was kind of confused why they would. I guess they were just kind of let him bleed out, but Figured they would have done something with the body though too.
Instead of just leaving him there.
Right.
Well,
That
it's
makes
just
sense.
a lazy job.
Well, look who it is. I mean, we got the most brilliant minds of the Night's Watch in charge of this operation. Benj?
Well, Ollie hit one hell of a growth spurt since last night. Dude's got a damn near fucking full beard going. Just saying, this was like less than 8 hours ago, and you know,
It's a coming
he
of
grew
age.
like 4 years.
Coming of age. stabbing.
HGH.
Yeah.
HGH shots really are working for him now.
So I think Luke had mentioned it last week, but Bowen Marsh was one of the attackers, and they do confirm that in this scene as the well.
Are we going to call it confirm? I think we're going to call it, oh, they realized they didn't introduce this character that was pivotal in the books, and let's just have a name drop for a character that they don't even look at when they name him. They just say, oh, X actor from last time, that was supposed to be Bowen Marsh. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We got you. Like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, I know. I knew that would kind of piss you off, but I was just like, oh yeah, okay, so it was technically Bowen Marsh, you know, but I don't think Yarwin was one of the attackers anyway, originally, but it was telling that it was like the upper echelon of the Night's Watchman that John had put in place or kept in place as he's, you know, become Lord Commander.
I'm sorry about this.
They're all down. Is what we're
this
trying to say.
our only Castle Black scene, or is that like the final scene down here? No, we go back.
We go back.
Yeah,
Never mind.
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna come back.
We're coming back to it. All right. Luke?
Yeah, so in kind of in this middle portion of the scene where we have Thorn kind of owning up to the treason, because right at the start, all the Night's Watchmen that weren't privy to what was going to happen were kind of like, what the hell, man? Like, you upped and killed him? Like, what's that all about? And he owns up to it, and he's like, you know what? I never disobeyed an order. That's not the only definition of treason. Let's be clear on that.
Right.
But he makes a couple fair points that we've seen where he's coming from. Like, we're not surprised by his arguments here, and he completely feels justified, and the men that were there with him feel completely justified for their own, in my opinion, wrong beliefs. So they're very, very right to themselves. It just doesn't actually make it right.
I was surprised at how many people, because it always seems like it was John and Sam and Ed kind of against the entire Night's Watch, that any of them were kind of like, that had his back almost, seeming like Thorn had to put down, tame the flames. But
I mean, John did get 51% of the votes.
That's
technically,
but yes, he did.
It's kind of the Harry Potter effect that we only see what John's seeing,
Right.
or what Sam is seeing. We don't see, oh, he had a really good interaction with Tim, couple blocks down. Like, you just don't see that. You only see the kind of the rougher interactions. It's better storytelling.
The highlight
I
reel.
think you're forgetting Malister Perot over there.
Malister Perot.
So more like maybe 41% or something like that.
Yeah, and now his watch has ended.
Hey, Joe, any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, so just to reply to that, I was just thinking about why they love John. I was thinking about the Battle of the Wall, but I guess some of them have just also seen him at Hardhome escape the Night King, and they do actually know that he was right, I guess, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, this what he's been talking about, legitimately a real threat.
Right.
Like a picture or something.
Yeah. Overall, though, it's a great. I love the opening shot that the wall, like at dawn, you can just hear Ghost. I'm pretty sure it's the first.
Yeah, I didn't get that one. I tried, but I wasn't quick enough.
But yeah, I think you're right. It's the first time Ghost has made a sound, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
At least in the show, I don't know if that's true. I think
I'm sure
early
he's
on,
growled.
it did some just. He did some like simple whimpering and gurring.
He's definitely louder.
Yeah.
But it's pretty sure it's also the first episode 1 that's like straight after the episode 10 from the previous season. I don't think we ever go back this quick. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
I just feel bad for Ed, really.
Right.
Literally all of his friends are dead now. He's got like those 3 random guys left. That's about
Right.
it.
Who do you
Yeah,
trust?
I love that. Who do you trust?
The guys in this room, I guess.
And I don't even know their fucking names right now. They're just
This
here.
guy,
Basically,
that dude.
I think it's pretty interesting that I guess I need to save this. Sorry. Anyways,
Too
Tormund.
interesting. Can't talk about that. Too interesting.
Yeah, it's too not predict. It is predictable.
Speculative.
Yes, speculative. My other thought was when Davos mentions, they're not the only ones that John saved their lives. I'm like, yes, we're going to get Tormund, and people are going to get fucked up. Yeah, I can't wait. So hopefully that happens. We'll see.
One of the guys in that room, he looks a lot. I generally thought he was Tormund's son the first time I watched, because he looks just like a shaved, slightly smarter Tormund. That'd be a good plan if they've just put him there and no one's noticed.
I'll have to rewatch them. All right, are we ready to move to Winterfell?
I just one quick note on Davos there. It's just kind of interesting that he's getting this opportunity to kind of help out when, he knows he's literally got nothing else going on right now. So you might as well go with like the one, side of it that he sees as just, he knows that what John was doing is questionable, but I think he knows that his heart was in the right place and kind of believes in the man a bit that John was. And he kind of talks to Ed about, like the little bit that I knew John, he wouldn't want his only friends to go and fucking kill themselves trying to attack literally apparently every other person here at the wall. Like that's not gonna be a good idea for like anyone.
Yeah.
So nice job, Davos.
You see early bird gets the worm there because he's the first one to rise, and then he finds the prize, I guess.
Yeah, that's the old
a
adage
terrible
go.
prize.
The old adage goes,
I don't want to win if that's the prize. So
you get a dead body.
I just wonder.
And you get
what he was
and you
doing.
get a corpse, and you get a corpse, and you get a corpse.
No. Go ahead, Joe.
I always wonder what Davos was actually doing. He's just kind of sat on the edge of his bed, just in the middle of the night.
He's getting a little older.
I'm not judging. I'm just asking.
He had to get up and pee.
He goes to
Yeah.
bed at 3 o'clock after watching MacGyver.
He's been watching Impractical Jokesters all night long.
Oh, yeah.
Joker.
It's a great show.
Yeah.
So
But I
Luke,
will.
Joe was talking about the guy. There's a picture of the guy at A10, looking like standing next to Davos there.
Let's see if I can hide the chat real quick.
Wasn't that Brian the Ginger?
Right there in the middle on the
Yeah,
left.
yeah, it might be Brian the Ginger. Perfect job for Ginger. Dig a latrine.
Oh, yeah,
That-
that's it.
Yeah, I think
Could
you're
be
right.
him. I don't remember what he looked. I know he's a ginger, but
Perfect job for a ginger.
that's
To all of our ginger listenership, we don't really care. Anyway,
we don't care.
We don't care.
we like you.
All
as people.
right.
You're more than your hair color. How's that?
We're gonna go to Winterfell with some more gingers. So we have Ramsay, Miranda, and Roose. Ramsay mourns the loss of his playmate. Roose reminds him about the importance of an heir and now his lack of a bride. Benj, let's go to you.
Sure. So, buried, burned, she's good meat. Feed her to the dogs. Right before this, you could see he actually did somewhat care about her. But then the true pragmatist just has to come through. And it's like, why waste it? Just give her to what she's meant for. But you can also tell that now Roose is really worried about the Lannisters. He's like, I literally sold out the Lannisters so you can marry your bride, so we can have the North. And now we don't have the bride, and we don't have the North. We're fucked. And you better get that through your damn skull.
Well, Roose's fault for promoting him to upper management. But when he's like kind of mourning or talking over Miranda's body, he looks at her, I don't really know, and says, your pain will be paid for 1,000 times over. My God, I hope he never gets his hands on Sansa. That, like, one of the biggest takeaways from this scene for me was just if Sansa ever falls into his clutches again, like, I don't know if I could even watch. It would be terrible.
It's gonna be bad. You're saying, right?
See, what I'm thinking, like, play devil's advocate, trying to, if it were to happen, Roose would probably have more input into it because he's like, you played your games and you scared her off, So I think if it were to happen, Roose would take more of a lead in managing that marriage.
You don't get to see her that much. You just get to, make appearances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
pop in, if you will.
Yeah, very good. Very
and not pull out.
Oh,
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, Glenn, go on with your thought here.
Okay, I will. So yeah, we see kind of Ramsay all high and mighty after the big Vic. And then after whatever it is with Miranda, he kind of puffs out his chest a little bit, but then Bruce kind of brings him right back down to earth, pretty much saying, hey, your victory over Stannis is useless. And I think Ben touched on it a bit, how, they lost Sansa Stark, and that was like the big thing in uniting the North. And, he does mention that he rebelled to the crown. So the Lannisters are eventually going to come a reckoning, and, we kind of fucked up a little bit because now they don't have the one key that they need. They want to, defeat them.
It's kind of like in young youth baseball when you have like the one kid that can pitch, and so you throw him like literally every single game, and he literally can never throw a baseball again after that year.
Yeah.
Like it's like the thing that made you guys good, and you ruined it.
Way to go! Pitch count matters. I'm be a Tiger mom over here in baseball season. Don't you worry.
There you go.
Yep. Sorry,
So
my kid.
thing,
Get that pitch count. Totally the same thing, Glenn.
Youth baseball and rebelling the crown.
I see it.
I see it.
Have you ever watched a youth sports game? It could get bloody, deadly. It's disgusting. Joe.
I don't have too much that the guys haven't said, but I did think when the camera first, because I remember Theon throws off like a pretty high wall, and I always just think, oh, she didn't look that bad for someone whose head's just fallen off a massive wall. But then as he's talking, it goes slowly around, and you see she's kind of turned into like a lighter version of Two-Face. She's kind of normal on one side, and then the other's like cracked and broken. Oh yeah, she did. I did mess up.
Yeah.
See, luckily for the dogs, I mean, it's already tenderized, right? I mean, just taking a step out for the butcher. Nice work.
Hey,
Cut the middleman.
Big dogs got to eat.
And so, I mean, I feel like we know Ramsay pretty well, ish. Who knows? I feel like Roose should know him too. So let's throw our wife out there. Oh, I hope she has a boy, like they said, so that way he can produce an heir. Did you not realize you just put a hit on your wife? Hello? Dumb. Prediction number 1. Baby Walda or little Walda, baby Bolton, they're done. Boom. That's prediction number 1 for tonight. They're gone. Anyways, anything else to add?
I nothing that we didn't really talk about, but yeah, Roose kind of disapproving of Ramsay's actions, but did nothing ahead of time. Like kind of what you were saying, like you still promoted him, like you put him in this position to do this, and you knew that he sucked.
It's kind of like that youth baseball coach that it was like, you have this pitcher whose arm's gonna fall off, and you still threw him out there.
It's like
it's more like from Varsity Blues, Bubba with the fucking concussions. I got 4 more concussions,
Billy
coach,
Bob.
and I'm good. Billy
I
Bob.
don't want your life, Dad.
I love that dog. I think it's a pig. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some more fun stuff here. We have Sansa, Theon, Brienne, Pod, and Bolton men. Sansa and Theon brave the cold and freezing waters to escape Ramsay's men and dogs, but they lose their lead and are found. Brienne and Pod arrive just in time to save the day, and Brienne gets to pledge her service once again. Dun dun dun. Benj?
So the hug between Sansa and Theon when they're at the tree, like they're like, okay, we're done, we're fucked. But thank you, you tried. There was just so much said without anything being said. It was a very sweet scene. You could tell Sansa's forgiving him, like she's actually forgiving him for everything and being grateful. So I did really enjoy that scene right before the Bolton men showed up, and then Brienne showing in and taking out the Bolton men, but she killed a horse, so that's going to lose her some honor points. She's going to have to throw like 4 fish back into the river after she catches them just to get those points back.
for wildlife catch and release.
Yeah,
catch and release, Bob. Honor the fish.
Killing a horse gets you like 4 negative.
I think you've been playing too much Red Dead.
What's that?
You've been playing too much Red Dead.
I have an online. I get online access on Thursday, so
there you go.
Yeah. Joe.
Holla.
Yeah, that hug. I was trying to think, like, when's the last time she had a hug that she wanted? Years.
Yeah,
that's a good shout.
Yeah.
I feel like right here, my exact note is this is payment for Theon. We're even. Not necessarily the hug, but when he steps out and lies to them, says she's dead, tries to give her any type of like chance. I'm done. I no longer hate Theon. He owes them nothing. I'm not saying they owe him anything, but we're done with this. He's paid his debts.
Even with the house again?
Yes, I think so.
And now he's on house money.
Playing with house money over there.
House money. Yep. Other than that, Brienne to the rescue. Pod with some good fighting chops. You see, practicing has paid off. Luke?
Yeah, so she fights him off, kills the bad guys, gets her level up experience. And then this is not the first time we've seen the vows and kind of the pledging her service. We had this with Catelyn early on, I know. I just still really like the words that they say, and it was kind of a nice moment between with Pod. Kind of we know that that's the stuff that he knows pretty well. Like that's kind of his skill set is knowing the formalities because he spent time with Tyrion, and that's what he learned from him. And
sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to throw this in there right here. I'm not crying. You're crying, okay? I'm just like, I don't know why this is hitting me so hard right now. That exact with Pod jumping in, her kind of struggling through it. Brienne again. Back-to-back episodes where we have vows upheld. I'm like, this world is just getting so much better, even though it's getting so much scarier. Oh, so good.
It's in the darkest of times that you can find the brightest of lights. So that's kind of where that comes from, right? So,
yes.
And that's kind of what I like because there is still this truth, this goodness in the world, and that's what Brienne brings, and that's what Sansa still brings, and all 4 of these people have a bit of that. Theon went dark, but he's gone through some retribution for it. I mean, literally paid in a lot of ways for things that he didn't quite do. Did plenty. Not discounting that, but like I pledge to ask no service to you that will bring you to dishonor is like huge for Brienne. Like that's like everything she can ask for. Like I want to serve someone that I can believe in and that isn't going to put me in a shitty situation where my honor is going to be questionable. So it's just really, really well done, I think.
She just wants a worthy, I don't want to call it a leader, but that's like somebody worthy of her.
It's a leader. I mean, I think so.
Like Glenn Dog.
Yeah, I mean, seems like everyone kind of touched on what my note was going to be or whatever, but did we talk at all about Sansa and Theon jumping off the wall? I think that's what we saw from last episode. The last thing we saw was them jumping off. Then Theon, basically tells the Bolton men that she died in the, what do they call it, parapets or something like that?
In the snowdrift.
The snowdrift.
Left her body in the drift.
Yeah.
Yeah, she broke her leg and he left her. He didn't want her hold him up.
Yeah, but I mean, they seem like they're moving around good enough for falling 50 feet or whatever it is. So.
Really, really fresh powder.
All 3 inches of it.
Go away.
The other part of this, they are on horses, so that definitely helps. But like, even my 4-year-old was, Yes, he was watching this with me as I was taking notes, and he was like,
that's cute.
They're going through, this frigid, icy cold water, and I was like, yeah, you know how cold it is outside here? Just think if you were also in the water, like that'd be really, really rough, and your clothes would be wet. And he's like, so they're being chased, and they went through the water with no problem? Like, what the hell? It's a pretty good point. Like, the horses made it with no hesitation.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and the dogs tracked right. Well, they didn't go downstream. Whenever you run through the water, run from dogs, go downstream. Then the dogs will lose a scent.
Well,
they went straight across.
Really, really stinky.
Ever?
You could smell. You could smell reek from a mile away.
Country mile.
Shit. Would have solved all the problems.
If only, hindsight, production value.
Little Anne were there, and they could have been just fine. So, I guess, is that all for there for?
Sure.
Yeah, I had one more.
Oh yeah,
I just wanted to touch on the music right at the beginning, the kind of chase, the bum 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 bum, quite upbeat music. I love the music all the way through this episode because a lot of it, you get a lot of the old themes back. You get like the Melisandre, the Aya, and the Dothraki stuff back. But this is a new one. It just makes me laugh. It's a good little piece.
Being chased.
And Theon also looks a lot like Igor now with his haircut and his like shuffling.
Come along, my queen. Come along.
Yeah, that's there.
Good scene though. Good scene, I thought.
Wonder if they got frostbite. Hope not.
Well, he's only got a few options left.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he didn't get frostbite on his balls or.
I was thinking the toes because the toes some of them were taken.
Cool enough to freeze your cock off out there. Lucky for Theon.
I'm freezing my balls off.
All right, here we go to King's Landing. We have Cersei and Jaime. Jaime returns to his sister with their child in tow. Maybe not.
No, he was towing her behind him.
Yeah, I know. You're right.
Like a tow truck?
Like Mater. Joe, you got any thoughts on this scene?
Only a small one, actually. I do like that the first thing they kind of show on camera is her new do, just to really remind you of what she's just been through. I guess that's kind of the curse of being in episode 1. All these scenes, you've got to really remind everyone of what's just happened, and that's a pretty effective way to do it.
It's a wicked haircut. I like it.
Yeah. I can't remember what she looked like before anymore.
Yeah.
No.
You know what's kind of funny is when she did this, right after she did this, Penny from Big Bang Theory shaved her head down too. So it was kind of like a nod to that, and everybody freaked out about her having short hair, but she's like, Cersei fucking has it too. Oh, it looks good.
Yeah, short hair's cool. Benj?
Again, kind of going back to last week, you almost feel bad for Cersei because you can feel her emotion. She's actually starting to break. She really started to break last episode during the walk. I talked about that. But here with the loss of her daughter, she's like, she kind of knew it was coming, but at the same time, it's like she's still hurt by it and she's still crushed by it. And you could tell her mental state is just ready to crack, and it's all because of the prophecy. She's putting too much stock in the prophecy. If the prophecy hadn't been told, had you not thought about it, would it have affected you? Now, I know that's a bit different than the Harry Potter reference, but it's along the lines of, she's putting so much stock into it, it's literally starting to drive her insane.
Yeah,
or maybe it was just right.
It's almost like if you believe in it, it'll come true because you're thinking about it all the time. You're believing in it, so it's bound to come true.
Self-fulfilling
makes
prophecies.
sense.
Yeah, it's like a classic Greek tragedy trope in dramas and things that basically the more and more you think about the prophecy that you heard, the more you always tend to go through the steps that almost guarantee that's going to happen. Like it's just kind of one of those, no matter what you do, you constantly thinking about it is setting up things in motion to make it exactly work perfectly. So don't do that. Look at you.
Do the exact opposite of what you think is going to happen. Or
yeah, if you think, oh, well, this kid's going to come and take my crown from him, give him your crown like right now and then just kill him. Done. Like,
Solved.
Fulfilled.
Put him on the spot. You're not ready to be a king.
Spend a week in my shoes.
Yeah.
Glendog, you want to go with yours?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, once you see Jamie kind of approaching on that, little rowboat or whatever, and like Cersei can just tell by the look on his face that Marcel has perished because he's just got this downtrodden look on his face, and if he had been more heroic, in getting Marcella back home safety, he would have seemed more chipper, I think. So
I was surprised at Cersei's reaction to Jamie and not faulting him for what has happened. I feel like when Jamie returned home from just being captured by the Starks, it was like his fault that he lost a hand. It was his fault that he was in prison, and it was his fault, and she was unimpressed. And here she's compassionate almost, and not putting fault on him. All I want to point out to this is proof, you guys, that timeouts really make for great attitude adjustments. So use that tool at home.
Right. Yeah, because I was actually going to bring that up. You can tell that it actually worked of her. She had time to reflect on everything she's done, and she can see now she might be going in a skewed way, thinking, like I said, the prophecy thing, but she can have time to actually think about her actions.
I was, in all seriousness, very surprised at the angle that this conversation took. Who are you? You're like, okay, blames on no. Okay, sure, Cersei, sounds good. When is she gonna explode? Like, I don't know.
New haircut, new Cersei. She's turned a new leaf.
Hey, proof. A new haircut can change your
New
world.
Life.
New do. Yep.
Look good,
Luke.
feel good, live good. Go for it, Joe.
Someone remind me, when in season 5, is it Jamie's idea or is it her idea? It's Jamie's idea, isn't it? For him to go.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Jamie's idea to go
Yeah.
and rescue the princess.
And I think he's just trying to do something.
Yes, that goes to your point, Abby, then, that if it's his idea and he went and messed it up, that definitely seems like she'd be blaming him for it. But
well, and then she even says when they set this up, "Oh, what are you gonna do in Dorne with one hand?" Like, I was already doubting him.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And right along with that, like the blame, I think they did this in the show, the blame she puts on him for when Joffrey dies. I mean, just like oh, you're not being here. It kind of goes right along with like all this shit happened because you weren't here. Like, oh, you got caught. Like, what the hell, man? Like give him a break. Yeah. So
Tywin died, and it was his fault for reacting wrong. Like,
yeah, Cersei, just a great sister. Just
great lover.
She cares about her brother. That's what you can say.
Does she?
Yeah, no.
Cares about something. Luke, did you get your thought off here?
No, I definitely, it kind of goes along with some of the thoughts that we've already brought up, but like she's going through, like how she's pretty compassionate here. We feel for her a bit, and she brings up, one of the crux of her real things is she has a hard time believing where Marcella even came from. She's like, she was so good, she always was. Like she wasn't like me, she wasn't mean, she wasn't cruel or jealous, and the line basically goes, I thought if I could make something so good, so pure like her, then maybe I'm not a monster. And I don't know, maybe this is confirmation for her that she might actually be.
Yeah.
A monster?
A Monstar. There's our basketball reference for you, Joe.
I got it. I'm on it.
Mike's secret stuff.
Monstar.
Special stuff.
Oh my gosh. I like that movie.
That's a great
All right.
movie.
Should we move on to the next scene that nobody has a single note on?
Sure.
Okay. So, next scene is Marjorie, Septa, Umbrella.
Hey.
Hi. Oh, I get it. Sorry, I thought you were trying to help me, and you were like.
No, we
I thought
were singing.
I thought the way I just heard it sounded like glitches. Never mind. Anyways, in the High Sparrow. Is it really Umbrella?
No, it's Unella.
It's Unella.
How the fuck do you get Unella out of that? There's about 7,000.
Unella.
Jesus.
No. That's the
The show
mocking
name.
name.
The
The name
Drinks
is
and Nose nickname is
UNELLA.
Umbrella.
It's a typo.
I call it Shame Wizard.
Yeah,
Sure.
here.
All right. So Ella utilizes her proven teaching techniques, and Marjorie gets word of her husband needing her. Anybody?
Yeah, that was about my only note. I did the notes for this scene. Like I did the setup, and it was like, so yeah, her teaching techniques have shown they've worked in the past. They worked for Cersei. Confess, beat the shit out of you. Confess. They might work for Marjorie, you know. So it was kind of interesting on that front of it. And then the High Sparrow saying the king needs his queen, and trying to play up the whole. And Marjorie does not give a shit about Tommen. Does not give a shit about him. She likes him. He's a sweet boy, but she doesn't give a shit about that marriage.
He has his uses.
Yes, exactly.
They are few, but she knows them.
Exactly.
Well, plus, like, he did nothing when she was getting taken away, and like he had the power to kind of do at least something, but he just kind of sat there like a stiff and did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think, that's your wife. You get out there and you find that fucking dog.
You find that fucking wife. Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And like, I don't know, she definitely knows that he's valuable, but I don't think she has faith in him. Like, I don't think she's very confident that, oh, this is probably like the thing to go for in the long run.
Exactly. She's like, I will get pregnant. At best, I will get pregnant by him, and I will kill that man in his sleep.
I don't think it's that way at all.
This is the third one.
Cersei would do that. I don't.
Yeah, you're right. She would turn basically into Queen of Thorns of
and just control him and let him think he has the power. That's exactly what.
No, you're right. Yeah,
she's not Cersei.
No, you're right.
Cersei literally did that.
Right, and she's Marjorie. She's not Cersei.
Right.
Different character.
I was confused. Thanks, Glenn.
She is younger and more beautiful.
She does not have a haircut yet.
So I also thought it was interesting that High Sparrow kind of comes in and is kind of playing good cop here, right? Mm-hmm. Because Unella / Umbrella was playing bad cop, or mouse cop, if you will, and basically she was going into for the beat down, and that's right when High Sparrow. It's like he has like his ear up to the door and he's like listening in. Yeah, it's okay, right now.
False mirror. Yeah.
Glass, the one-way mirror glass.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe, do you have anything on the scene?
Literally, I was just about to repeat that. Actually, the good cop, bad cop. I always think of Unella now as the shame wizard.
Shame wizard.
Shame wizard. But I do think you can kind of see the differences already between Marjorie's imprisonment and Cersei's, where Cersei is just kind of like raging at the door the whole way through. You can kind of see the High Sparrow comes in with his good cop. I think she's kind of taking it in and working out how she can work around him rather than go through him like Cersei would. You can just see where she's a tad smarter than Cersei.
Yeah, she's calculating as opposed to just fighting until she snaps, and then like Cersei's kind of picking up the pieces after the fact. Where I agree, there's a bit of like, how can I maneuver this and give them what they want, just enough to not lose my own like game here. I think it's a pretty good pickup, Joe.
Shame was it?
Shall we go to everybody's favorite place? Dorne.
Are we going to take a Jojen train at least?
Yeah, sure. You can take whatever you want. Planes, automobiles.
Or Jojen mobiles.
Yes, there you go. So we have, God damn it, I hate fucking names, guys. Alaria, Dorian, Ario? Ario?
Ario.
I don't know.
Ario Hotel.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Ario Hotel. Illyria makes nice with the prince until he finds out about the princess. Ario and Doran are unceremoniously dispatched. Anybody feel like it wasn't last episode, it was episode 9. We were talking about how what's the chick's name?
Ilaria?
Yeah, sure, her. She is helping him, and he's just like given his forgiveness pretty quickly. Super sketchy watching her walk up those stairs with him. Gets even more sketchier. I didn't realize how sketchy this scene was gonna get, but
Extra
hey,
sketchy.
it's
Pretty
super
sketchy
sketchy.
in the end. Yeah.
It's like Rob Dyrdek sketchy. So just saying. Glenn?
Yeah. How do we see all this like kind of stabbings going on again, and the other guards have like no reaction. It seems it's almost like they're just standing there like a bunch of schmucks.
Like they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming. Maybe they're in on it, I guess, and it do nothing. But the one thing I kind of have a problem with, like Area Hotel, like gets stabbed in the back, and it's like immediately just out like a cucumber.
Jon Snow took 6 and was still like, Ollie,
Yeah.
you too, et tu, Ollie.
An insta-kill.
It was a Halo, assassination is what it was. You
Yeah.
hit him in the back, and they're done. That's it.
Yeah, Glenn, that's actually exactly same as like where my note goes with it. I just have really Hoda, like one stab to the back. Yeah, fine. She might have hit the spine, but it was like he was done and out. Wasn't even like arms move. It was a lower back shot because that shit can't reach above, mid back height.
Yeah, that guy's like a linebacker.
Yeah, I mean,
she stabs him with a teaspoon and he just goes down. It's the fastest death. Then lasted longer.
Achilles stab wound,
Right. It's just like, come on, what the fuck? I mean, now granted, I did find this out today because I was doing a little bit of looking. Wasn't sure if I was going to come up with a question or if Abby was hosting still. But this scene was actually shot at the same time all the other scenes in season 5, so they wouldn't have to go back to these to this castle to keep filming because it was so expensive to film. So they literally said, okay, we're just going to film this all right now and get it done with. But apparently there was like 2 other episodes worth of material for Doran that he recorded, and then he didn't know that he was actually killed off in the first episode until season 1 or season 6 premiere. And he's like, what the fuck? I literally filmed 2 other episodes.
Poor guy.
They just said, nope, we're done.
He was mad about it until they gave him his paycheck. He's like, oh.
Which makes a lot more sense of how...
all 3.
He did get paid for all 3.
Yeah.
But but which makes more sense of why him and Ilaria are so buddy at this point. Like they're happy-go-lucky. There's he's trusting her. He's holding her up the stairs and all that. So
Snake in the grass. Never. Doesn't matter how many episodes. She's Bad News Bears. I don't know. Yeah, Bad News Bears. It's a good movie. Watch it. I don't know who I haven't gotten to. Pretty much everybody else. Who wants to go next?
I don't really have much.
I'll have a go.
Go for it.
Like.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff I don't like, not just in this scene, but Dawn in general. But people more eloquent than I have gone through that. So I won't try and repeat all, although I do think him going down that fast just annoys me. But like you were saying about those, that's what I was going to mention, that they have all this extra material for Duran. And I understand why they'd wanted to kind of put a cap in at least part of Dawn because it got such a bad reaction in season 5. I just don't understand why they chose to stay with the bit that everyone really hated in the Sand Snakes and get rid of the good actor that everyone was really excited. And why not? I don't know why they didn't go the other way. It is cool when all those guards are just kind of watching. But if you've got the entire, I'm assuming you have the entire palace, why are you waiting for him to get the letter? You could just do it any time, couldn't you? Just get over and done with.
Right. I mean, it was literally a letter that said, Marcella's dead. And he was like, oh, no.
Oh, man.
And like she could have just walked up with him and be like, okay, have a seat. Marcella's dead.
Here's
Stabby. Like, it would have been the same exact thing. But they have to kill the maester too, I guess, so that the ravens don't get off. I think maybe that's the part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
But they were waiting because they knew the word would come, so they had to wait until word comes. Yeah, exactly. Confirmation on it, because they couldn't be certain that Marcella would have died. I mean, they probably had like a 99%, but there's maybe that 1% where she's immune to the poison.
Didn't you see the blood dripping down Ilaria's nose? I mean,
yes, but I'm saying Marcella might be immune just by happenstance.
I know.
You got to make sure.
We just really beat this horse last episode.
Yeah.
That's kind of the no-look pass they went for. Sorry, Joe. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying maybe it's like weird voodoo poison, where as soon as her nose is bleeding, Marcella's must be bleeding as well.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
About that time for nosebleeds.
Hey, it's that dry air.
Right?
Dry air of Dorne.
The dry air of
Notorious
I have
for dry air.
a last thought on this scene. It absolutely has nothing to do with this scene. It has to do with Luke's comment about et tu, Brutus. I want to revoke my least favorite thing about last episode. I will do it quickly. And mine is really et tu, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. I got a previous episode recap at the beginning of the finale.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man, it was just
speechless. It was so good.
Man, it broke the
internet. It left her speechless.
Left her frozen
What a
in
comment.
thought. Really, David and Dan, what the hell? You gave me a
previously on
that edge of our seats. We're paying for the whole seat, but we only need the edge. All right, Ab, what do you got?
All right.
What do you think?
She's dropping out. She'll be back, folks.
What do you think the punchline is?
All right, take your guesses. Joe, what do you think she's going to say?
I once walked into a...
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
All right, there she is.
Instead of trying to fix it, I just hung up and called back.
Hey, it worked. Welcome back.
Hey, okay. I apologize about that. I heard all the bits about you going through my David and up to David and Dan. I got a previously on about Benjen, and I'm like stoked. Yes, we're finally gonna at least get a breadcrumb about what the hell's going on with him. Where is he? He's not dead. I know it. He can't be, because we're getting. And really, it's a setup. I get double crossed, and I was pissed. That was the only information I got on Benjen.
And Abby, I told you from season 1, you're gonna love the Benjen storyline.
Oh, intrigued. That is my least favorite thing. So we can move on from here. I'm sorry about that. But when you said that, because I had that in my notes at 2, and then I didn't know how to get it to David and Dan with it sounding right. So I scratched it.
Got lost in the
You just froze on purpose.
Dave and Dan.
Yeah, at 2, Dave and Dan. Sorry, I have to go back through my notes here. Dorne, that's where we were, right? Open sea?
Yep.
All right. So we have... Okay, yeah, I am thoroughly confused. Tristane...
Sounded
Obara?
Out. Yep.
Obara? Yeah,
don't tell Abby to sound it out. She'll kill you in your sleep.
Look it up in the dictionary. If I could do that, why the fuck would I ask you? Okay, anyways. Tyene?
Yep.
Yeah.
3 for 3.
Boom, boom.
Nice.
Yep.
Killing it, Ab.
Tristane works on his eye art when his cousins show up for a friendly game of Stick'em. I didn't realize they were on a boat, I guess. I'm thoroughly confused on what's going on here.
Here's the thing with this scene. They're actually in Blackwater Bay.
Okay.
Which, first of all, doesn't make sense to why they waited until they made it all the way to fucking Blackwater Bay to pull this off. Maybe they wanted Jaime and Bronn off the ship or something, but it's still, that one bothers me.
So
Tristane went.
Yeah, Abby, if we flip back to Jaime, when he pulls up, this boat, Tristane is on that boat with Jaime.
Why didn't he get off?
He was probably going to go back.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm under the assumption he was going back.
Because Marcella was dead, so let's just send him.
Let's go back. And that's why I went with Open Sea instead of saying, oh, they're at King's Landing, and then I have to put in the King's Landing shift and, break up the storyline.
And so Obara and Tyene, they're part of the Sand Snakes, right?
Yes. They're Oberyn's stuff.
Okay, why does Jaime not murder them on that boat?
So that's where it's Glenn. Go for it.
Because they were, cool at that point.
Because they're cool.
Okay.
No,
they're the good
everybody
pussy.
They were on good terms
Kung
when they
fu
left
fighting.
there. I'm pretty sure.
Right. So this is after Marcella was dead. So Abby's saying, why didn't Jaime just kill them? I don't think they weren't out on the boat. We saw their boat pull away, and all of the Sand Snakes were standing on the dock.
Or they snuck onto the boat and didn't reveal themselves until after everybody was off except for.
Yeah,
I am no less confused now.
Don't
Thanks,
try
guys.
to. It literally does not make sense.
Okay.
And it's
quite
bad
literally
writing.
is Dorn consolidation. As we said earlier, the actor that played Doran had 2 other episodes filmed.
Right.
They really, really cut it in editing to just get out of Dorn and be done with it. I think is the only reason this confusing timeline happens. But at the end of the day, the only way you could justify it is, these 2 other Sand Snakes were on a smaller boat, caught up to the big ship once they landed, and Jamie is off the boat, and they just got here to kill Tristane. So it's like they just came in on their own skiff.
So they weren't okay. They're on skiffs, not on the boats the whole time, playing "Who's the most beautiful girl in the world" games. Got it. Cool.
That's about all we can figure out. I think.
Hands.
Awesome. Joe, anything to add to this wonderful explanation?
Absolutely not.
So I'm going to go into my actual note of this scene, though. See, every bad scene, there doesn't matter how bad of a scene this is, and this is a pretty bad scene. Every bad scene can be made better with a spear through a face.
And my note is, are we still counting how many times they've done this?
This is 3.
It's at least 3. There may have been one more.
Oh, there might be. Was there a Brienne one?
Yes.
Or the Hound. Or
Carl Tanner.
The
Hound had one in with,
Pod.
Right.
Pod had one.
Yeah. So that's the 4th right there already.
Yeah, that's 4. This might be a number 5. So okay.
Or 6.
They do it a lot. And when I said that at the first time, Bed, you were like, "No, they don't.
No.
Come on, we've seen it now."
Yeah.
They do it pretty often.
But again, no matter how bad a scene can be, it only adds to a spirit. It only gets better with the spirit of the face.
That's one way to write a show.
Glenn, Luke, either of you?
No, I'm good.
I do have one, actually. I lied.
Go for it.
A really super nerdy one. When Tristane draws his sword, I notice it's like I don't know what they're called, but like the thin, like Scarlet Pimpernel type swords. I'm pretty sure is that the only one we see like that? I don't remember ever seeing another one.
I mean, the closest one would be Needle, but Needle was a lot thinner.
Right.
So yeah, that's more of a pirate
blade.
And it's like a charm sword.
That's more of like a pirate style. Yeah. Thin. I see what you're saying.
And also, he's just an idiot for turning his back on one.
Yeah,
right.
He literally walked into the middle of the room to make sure his back was to one.
She's got enough room to throw the spear, through
let's get perfectly
the back of my
spear
head.
distance away from her with my back turned towards her.
I'm gonna pick you so that I can handle, go towards the whip, and then she spears me through the head.
There you go.
You really are a greedy bitch.
Another just terrible line.
Yeah.
It's just parts of this is just not good.
And like we said, it's more of like a consolidation, and like really some of these characters like Tristane really weren't developed that well. Like I can only remember a couple scenes that he was even in.
Mm-hmm. He's been there. He's had like honestly maybe 6 lines, if that. I mean, it's just been like, that's a piece.
He's been in. I can think off the top of my head 3 times. Yeah, like him, Marcella, him at dinner, and him here. I think this is only 3 scenes. Maybe a 4th scene, like walking away, but that was a lead up to the next scene with Marcella in the gardens. But this goes back to like my final thought from last episode of the final season of season 5 of how even Dorn wasn't that badly done. For season 5, everybody shits on it because it's so different and everything. It was bad, but it wasn't horrible. Both Dorn plot lines here are fucking terrible. This just justified them cutting out the entire plot, the story. If they thought this was the best they had, and I don't know if it is, but it's just, and I think like Joe said, they took the backlash and like, oh shit, okay, maybe we shouldn't stick with this Dorn plot line. But it's one of those in season 5, watching it now, it's really wasn't that bad. But this just stupid.
Well, so like another point that Joe, you brought up that I really liked was like, of the options that they could have gone with, they should have gone with the Doran side of it. Go with the politics. There's enough action in the show as it is. Like, we don't need the 3 action figure, characters that the Sand Snakes are supposed to be, and more deceit-driven characters. We've got enough of those. We need more politic players again. We haven't had that in Game of Thrones, the show,
season 2.
in a while. Yeah, I mean, basically since Varys and Littlefinger separated, right? I mean, Microfinger.
Well,
sorry, we haven't talked about.
I'd say Varys, Littlefinger, and Tyrion.
But that the King's Landing season 2 stuff is like the last time there's been true politicking, and Doran kind of presented that option, but they just chose to go with the flashy, good for screen, option. And
Warrior Barbie.
Yeah, kind of.
Right. And I think I can speak for everybody when I say I wish we saw more snakes in the sand, like that one.
There was that one, that Bronn snake, right? Yeah. True.
Never mind.
Good call, Glenn. Really
I was going
call.
for double entendre on that one. He didn't get to stab that one snake, though.
He might later.
I remember when the marketing for season 2 was coming out. Maybe it didn't have an effect at all, but I remember they were going quite heavy on like the promoting all the female characters coming into power.
Yeah,
and she does have that line when she stabs him about like weak men will never rule Dawn again, which is actually that's probably the one bit I like of that scene. But I don't know, maybe that just figured into it because they had like Brienne and her successes and Sansa escaping Ramsay, and it was maybe they just thought we'll put all our chips in that pot.
Mm-hmm. And I guess you can still kind of pull an anti-Lannister sentiment out of this. I mean, by what we've seen, Doran was technically siding with the Lannisters. We know, I mean, you can make kind of assumptions, they didn't get to it too deep, that maybe he was trying to undermine them in the long run. But on the surface, everything that everyone's seeing is he's joining the Lannisters.
He was keeping his enemies close.
Right.
Friending them.
Right. And so maybe Ilaria and the Sand Snakes are, also going to fight the Lannisters, so it's kind of easy to pull it's easy to hate the Lannisters card and take that route as opposed to giving the Lannisters more weapons, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Ilaria could be. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go, Abby. Go.
I was going to say Ilaria, or however you say her name. I'm sorry, I always mess it up. She could be as commanding as Cersei done right. I don't necessarily think it's like the actress who doesn't command that. It's, I guess, how everybody feels about season 5 and the Dorne stuff. She really, like you said, that one line, and that one did get me. I'm like, ooh, damn, don't mess with her. Yeah. But it's that one time opposed to Cersei's. We've had now 6 seasons or 5 complete seasons of her buildup. So I don't know.
And Abby, I know something that you've brought up multiple times with Dany is how difficult it is for a woman to have that kind of commanding presence. Yeah. And sometimes Dany has it, and sometimes, Emilia Clarke doesn't. Yep. It's absolutely true in the way that the show is done. I do think, I agree with you that I don't know her name, the actress that plays Ilaria, has that same thing that Cersei has, that Lena Headey has, that she can quickly bring that power card to it. I mean, she came in the beginning of season 4 with Oberyn, and maybe there's some, kind of, hey, we really liked Oberyn kind of crossover that, hey, we can kind of lump them together a bit, but on her own, I think she's a really outstanding actress.
She is.
Yeah, Indira Varma. Indira Varma. Indira Varma.
Props to her. Good stuff.
Yeah, she really does kill it. I mean, you can tell.
Yeah, she does. Right here in this scene, she really
kills it.
I mean, with her emotions and the way she plays things, she's not an over actress. She doesn't like the Sand Snakes are over actresses. They try, but they just don't own the scenes. She actually does own the scenes. You can tell. She emits the emotions. Just the plot. The acting isn't the problem with her. It's the plot that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the point I was going to make, that she, I like what they've done with her character compared to her book version. I think her strength is when she talks to Oberyn, when she talks to Jaime, when she talks to Doran, and the bits when she loses it is when they try and stick her with these Sand Snakes, because there's just not a lot for her to work with.
Yeah.
But when you keep her in that political or more commanding side, it's probably the best part of Dawn they salvaged.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the intrigue part that she can bring is still valuable, and Luckily, we still have that, I guess.
Exactly. All right.
Ready? Marine?
Marine.
Tyrion and Varys. What a wonderful matchup.
And they're meant to be no man.
The imp and half man? No man?
No man.
Okay, sure. Take a stroll through the town discussing the perils of a queen not being present. Glenn?
Yeah, Tyrion says eventually, well, we won't be sailing to Westeros anytime soon.
Oh.
Right.
Yes, that does happen.
All the ships are burning.
Does it mean no Jojen cruise ships?
No Jojen cruise ships. And yeah, we've seen that the narrow sea takes a long, like a dragon couldn't fly over that.
Never. That's not even an option. That's canon. on
Canon.
this podcast,
Yeah,
that's canon.
Apparently, yeah, they can't do that. So,
Benj?
I used to steal from people like you when I was a boy. Well, it's a good thing you're not a boy anymore, because you have no cock.
That was a very... He's a funny guy.
He's a funny man. But I really did enjoy this scene because it is getting back to the Varys Tyrion quips and banter, and Tyrion learning. He's not just being the know-it-all. Varys is the one person I think Tyrion feels is smarter than him. I don't know if he feels that he's more clever. Tyrion thinks he's the most clever guy in the room everywhere he goes. But I think he does genuinely believe Varys is smarter than he is because he has more information. And I shouldn't say maybe the only person, like Maester Aemon, I believe he would have thought is smarter than him. But one of the very few. What's that?
It depends on the topic. The thing that makes Tyrion so great is that he sees greatness in other people and knows how he's a facilitator. He knows how to get the best out of other people to get.
And same as Varys.
He's a researcher. He's someone that collects information and then disperses it at his own will. But Tyrion knows that and basically leverages Varys' talents by facilitating it in the most proper way.
No, that's fair. No, fair. But it just these two together, I'm glad these two made it back together. That's what I needed, because these two together are the ultimate force in Westeros, Essos, Earthos.
It's like someone's been saying, Dany needs help. And help is here, but she is not.
She gone. She gone.
This is conundrum. Luke.
Oh, so like when this scene opens up and Tyrion's walking around, he sees, this is right after I think Varys is like, you walk like a rich person, and
it was right
kind of guilts him into like, you need to kind of actually get on, helping the small folk a little bit in that mentality, in the forefront of his brain at least. And he walks up to this, clearly pretty poor woman with her baby, and he's like trying to use his pretty shite Valyrian here.
His nasally Valyrian.
What?
His nasally Valyrian.
Yeah, his nostril. My Valyrian is very nostril. Yeah, we know it sucks. And he's like, here's, for your baby to eat. And Varys is here. He's like, fucking stop. She thinks you're trying to eat her baby. Like, it's hilarious. And then, clearly Varys fixes the situation. He's like, he wants to give you money so your baby can eat. Like, sorry for the confusion.
So some part of me in here, I love these two together. It's a powerhouse always when, it's good pairings. But he hands her that money. And I'm like, okay, so it's the whole give him a fish, feed him for a day. Like, you just handed her that money. You haven't helped her, actually. You couldn't give her a fucking job. Like, there's no job in the palace or whatever you're living in right now that could, sustain this type of whatever. Sorry.
She had to survive the day to put the work application in.
You know what? He could have just with him. Like, I don't know.
He's doing something.
What am I supposed to do with this? I can't fucking eat gold. What the hell?
My only criticism.
That's
Sorry.
my dad. That's a cell phone.
Oh, Joe.
I do think this scene suffers a little bit from, like we were saying earlier, where it's because it's episode 1 and they've kind of Varys has got to kind of go, hey Tyrion, just kind of quickly mention where we are and what we're doing again. But Conleth Hill and Peter Dinklage, they make you forget all that because they're just so good together. And like we just said, it's traveling back to season 2, 3, the actual Game of Thrones type thing, but in a different place with slightly different roles. Tyrion's on a foreign field, if you like, but it is good. It's just good to see him compared to like episode 1, season 5, where he's just like throwing up out of that box. It's just good to see him, and he's still got the beard, so he's not. It's all good.
Improvement.
Yeah,
definitely.
The beard shows character development, right?
Yes, I believe that's what it is. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else?
That is a good beard. He looks good.
Yeah, it's a good beard. He's just participating in Notion November.
Yeah, there you go.
Would he be an ILF?
An ILF?
ILF?
Kind of like a
I don't think he would be.
I don't think not for me. He's not really my type. He just looks good. That's okay.
All right. So we're going to do an Audible shout out. You can get a free 30-day trial and a book on us for free. Get Fire and Blood to learn about the Targaryen dynasty, starting with Aegon's conquest. Learn more at thepodcastthat.com/we are Audible affiliates.
Blood, Fire, and
or don't get Fire and Blood, because most people here probably have already gotten it, and get Wild Cards, which according to Luke is very good, and I've been meaning to check out. I haven't yet, but it's my next one on my list.
Yeah, I've been cruising through it. It's good.
It's a George Martin. Is this pre Game of Thrones?
Simultaneous, somewhat. I think it started with Wild Cards originally, and he's done them kind of back and forth a bit. Yo, do you know much about that?
I'm pretty sure he started them first, but he's kept them going at the same time, I think.
I know there was I think it was after A Dance with Dragons, there was another Wild Cards that came out, and people, like they always do for George, throw a shit fit that the next Song of Ice and Fire book's not out. It's like, give him a fucking break. Like, let him.
He's got other interests. It's fine. As I've said on this front, it's one of those of, I want the next book to come out. I want George to be happy. I'm selfish enough to admit, yes, get the book done. I want to read it, but at the same time, take your time. I want it to be good.
Don't worry.
So I'm fine waiting.
Good.
My only note on our Audible affiliates link is I like to try to read through this and see what Luke has typed up for me to read. And today I saw Aegon, and there's a lot of A words in here. And I'm sorry, chat, for all you who suffer through me going Aegon. Try, Glenn likes to tell me, sound it out. And I messaged Luke
one time.
I know. Yes, he likes to say famous words from Glenn. I messaged Luke.
Famous words one time.
Aegon, like a Canadian.
Yeah, so to our Canadian friends, you were Mackenzie L. Burns, you were referenced.
Yep, it was
or the Fonz. The Fonz also says
Aegon.
Yeah, like that would have been a better joke.
Let us.
Where are you when I yeah. Let's go to the Dothraki Sea. Jorah and Dario 2.0. The boys comb the grasslands and find a clue. We are looking for Blue's Clues. And
I wonder where it's at.
Mail time.
Mail time. Glenn, take us away on this song we're singing here.
Sure. So, I think it's about that time to check the grayscale wristwatch. We see Jorah check his wrist for the grayscale, and it's a little bit more not like terribly but just a little bit bigger than it was like before. I guess when him and Tyrion were on the beach and he checks it the first time. So
it's a little less of a wristwatch now, and almost more like one of those quarterback plays wristbands.
He's looking at the play, getting the play from the coach.
It's almost a gauntlet.
Yeah, he's working towards a gauntlet. Maybe some greaves later on.
Where's his dress?
Like a sweatband.
Yeah.
Yes. This is what we got to come up. We got to come up with the wristwatch, the sweatband, the snap wristwatch thing.
Merch.
Yep. Joe?
Yeah, my favorite thing about this is just Dario just calling Jorah out basically and saying what everyone's been thinking for a few seasons. Like, do you not get not frustrated that she does not want you? And Jorah having to admit, yeah, actually, I do. Got a bit of the blue balls, but but then they do have a cool bit about it. They're both admitting they just kind of want to see what she actually does when she gets going at a marine, which I think we can probably all relate to. So blue balls, but relatable.
Yeah, that was kind of where my thought was here too. Here, it's they're talking about the dreaded friend zone a bit, where Jorah has found himself. But like, again, I don't think that is the only thing on Jorah's mind. It's not like, oh, he's just been pining after her as just this lost puppy. It's more of he truly does believe in her as a leader, as a ruler. Yeah, he also fell in love with her, but she kind of has that power that he's not going to be the only one. Like there could be 60 people that get into a position like he is in the long term that end up a lot of them are going to have the similar reaction. Like it's hard not to fall for somebody like her, and like we give him a hard time because we've seen it so much and it's really evident and it's kind of embarrassing to watch at times. But like I get it. I get where she's coming from. I get where he's coming from. It's creepier in the books for sure because it's much more in your face and abrupt. But
you look right now
and
on
also
the screen.
and also in books, Jorah is like 1/3 of the hotness that he is here. I mean, just being serious, I hear that all the time. Like book-wise, he's like a short, hairy, fucking Wolverine-esque looking dude.
Hey, Wolverine, there's nothing wrong with him.
I don't mean I don't mean the X-Men. I mean the actual animal, a Wolverine.
He looks like a Wolverine.
all hair.
She literally
he looks
calls
like
him a bear all the time.
You bear?
Yeah.
Who doesn't like a teddy bear? Teddy Roosevelt. Come on.
So
Teddy bear.
His head's the third one on the row in Mount Rushmore. Sorry, I got the song in my head now. Anyways, Ben, did you get your points out?
I have not yet. Where my notes went down there. Really? You're gonna find that fucking ring in 15 fucking seconds in the middle of the stampede. Not even in the circle. Not in the middle of the circle, pit area. No, in the stampeded grass, you find the ring in 15 seconds. I mean, I get it. Consolidation. They have to just move the story forward. But
comb the desert.
Yeah, exactly. I actually did have that note, and then I changed it. But yeah, comb the desert. What we found? We ain't found shit. But it's like, come on. That one just that small little thing just bothered me. Put the ring in the middle of the circle where she dropped it.
Right. It should have.
That's where she dropped it. She didn't drop it in the
more than 15 seconds, is what you're saying, right?
If anything, find it where she dropped it.
So the other part of that is it was a stampede. There were thousands of horses. Remember that? It's gonna get kicked and moved around.
Dink.
Look at the shot. No, look at the shot. There's a ring where there was no stampeding.
Hey, I'm not gonna cut this.
It's where she was standing.
I do need to interject here.
Yes.
Luca Ferocious, can we make a house deal here? Will you please take over hosting for me for about 5 to 10 minutes?
I can probably manage that.
Thank you. I have some duties I must fulfill.
All right, if you don't mind muting your microphone until you get back.
I mean, I will. I won't.
I won't do that.
I don't want to hear the parental
I do what I want.
What's about to happen.
No, it's not parental. It's nurse duties.
Yeah. Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah.
That's the other kid.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. No, I'm just devil's advocate teasing you.
I know, but like she was in the. That's my whole thing. She was in the middle of the circle up, and there's a big empty grass spot where there was nobody writing. Where she dropped the ring, find the ring there, not in the pit line. And it just small details, but it's like, come on, it's not that hard. You literally could have filmed this scene right after the circle up scene and just left the ring literally right there.
Right. And they should have taken like a half an hour. This scene should have took like a half an hour of them just like searching you know, the grass.
They got hey.
Oh, look, what the fuck is this?
Metal detector.
You gotta find the metal. You gotta find the metal detector.
Jorah plays Skyrim. That's the only explanation.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was gonna say. What we haven't seen in all of his off-screen time, all of his leveling up abilities, 100% on tracking. 100%. That's all he's done.
That's fair. He hit L3, R3 at the same time. Got the heat sensor. Okay. All right, fine.
I need to get back on Skyrim. I've been slacking. I need to start playing.
I need to get back on Red Dead.
You've only been playing Red. So you just want us to finish. You want us to finish recording so you can
hurry
get
this
back.
up.
That's what I'm saying.
Get back on the horse.
All right. So, any final thoughts on Jorah and Dari 2.0 here?
Not on them, but the area that they're in, it looks slightly different from what I remember of season 5. But even then, it doesn't look much like Essos to me. It looks closer to where like Brienne and the Hound fought, like the Vale type area. It doesn't look very hot there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, exactly. Very, very Northern Ireland ish. It looked very dreary, not very open skied. I can definitely see that, and I think you're not wrong about the because that looks almost identical to where they were, but I think Luke's pulling up the.
Here's the season 5 map.
So I mean, it's close.
It's fairly similar, yeah.
It's close, but I can see what you're. But this scene might not have been shot.
Like
this one probably would have shot.
This looks a lot more Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings ish.
Yeah, it's at least sunny there.
But yeah, it's definitely the same. It's definitely the same area as what season 6 is. They really probably did. Well, I don't know. They probably didn't do them back to back, but they should have. So there's season 5 finale right there. It's just foggier later on. So, all right. So let's move along to within the Khalasar, where we have Daenerys, Dothraki riders, Khal Moro, and his wives. Dany hears some interesting conversation on her way to the ruling Khal, who in turn guarantees her protection as they bring her back to spend her days at Vase Dothra. Go. Why don't you kick us off here?
The first thing I instantly notice about the Dothraki is they all seem to have grown the same like Lego-looking beard, where it looks like it's just been jammed on. They all look the same. The second is that apparently grandma is a word in the Dothraki vernacular. You just wouldn't expect grandma to be something
like it literally said that out loud. Like that was the way it sounded, or it was in the words.
It's just no, it's in the like
the subtitles,
but it's just a bit informal for Game of Thrones, and especially Dothraki. But on a more actual note, it is a good scene in Daenerys kind of playing her wild card again of knowing, like she used to, knowing speech that people don't know she knows. But then it kind of backfires on her. You know, she gets the reveal when she's with Carl. Is it Miro or Moro? I can never remember. Moro. Of playing her wild card. I'm Daenerys. Bloody, bloody, blah. All these titles. And although it does save her from quite bad things, she still has to not go where she wants to go. It's just quite a different situation for her because normally she pulls out the speech, she pulls out the name, and that solves a lot of her problems. So it's quite interesting to see it work backwards.
Yeah, it's really funny because she like, you know, like, oh, you know, this is who I am. All these titles, you know, Robert, Big Bobby B, Baratheon, titles. And he's like, I don't give a shit. You're nobody, millionth of your name. You're a slave of mine. And
that's a good line, millionth of your name.
It was a pretty good line. And then she like does, you know, the Khal Drogo name drop, and I don't think she expects that to work nearly as well. It's like because everything just like stops at that point, and he's like, oh, I had no idea. Cut your, you know, your bindings and everything, and then it's like, oh, he's like, okay, cool, all right, I can deal with this. Can you just like give me a, you know, hop on the trolley back?
Hell yeah.
And he's like, no, Lenny.
Yeah, so kind of what I was gonna say, but yeah, she's just kind of like, So yeah, I guess if you just want to take me back to Marine right now, that'd be great. Let's let's go.
I'll give you a tip.
Oh no! You're a widow of a cow. You are gonna spend the rest of your time here. Where all the other widows are. So that's what you got to go. You're
That's
not
what
going. You're not
signed
going
up
back
for.
there. We're not sending you there. So lucky for you, you get to go here.
Benj?
Yeah, so my first note is actually for during the walk when the one Dothraki's like, she doesn't have to be smart to fuck her in the ass. I want to have a little conversation when I cuddle, or we're no better than dogs.
Dothraki
like-
pillow talk, yeah.
Dothraki pillow talk, exactly. But also thinking, as Joe pointed out, this isn't the first time that she's understood, things that might come back to bite you. Don't know. Could, but the next one is okay. Fine. Seeing a woman naked for the first time is like one of the 5 greatest things.
Top
all right?
5.
Top 5. Just fine. Okay. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, that'd be awesome to see her. You didn't, or me and her, we,
No,
you didn't.
No, you didn't.
No, we didn't. But my friend and her, no, they didn't. No, they didn't.
You can imagine.
But imagine if they did. That was kind of my thought to that scene.
So, Abby, do you have any thoughts on Danny meeting the new head of this Dothraki horde and all of this?
I will just throw it out there. She has wonderful timing for admitting she knows languages. So it's just so well timed. That's all.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I understand what you guys are saying the whole time.
The whole time.
Where's that script? I'm gonna flip it on you.
Yeah.
But you notice the 2 that were taking her had already walked away. I believe. Were they still standing there? Were they standing behind her still?
I think they
I
may
think
have
they
been
because I thought they got a
still.
look.
They're
They
probably
got like
okay.
in the
Maybe
vicinity.
so. All right, never mind. I was thinking like had they presented her and kind of burnt out, that would be a little bit interesting for later development. But I think you're right. I think they were still there, so I take that back.
I will say we had our first "It Is Known" reference
Yeah.
in a long while.
I think season 2.
It's I mean it was
During
Erie,
Erie
or Jeekwe. I think it was Erie, but
in
talking
damn
to
it.
Doria. It
Karth.
was in
Beginning
Karth,
of
yeah.
season 2, wouldn't
Yeah.
it? It must have been the Red Waste.
Yeah, basically.
I think
it's-
Karth.
Do you hear any of them talking, Karth? I can't remember. Maybe you do.
Yeah, they
Not
do
much.
because it's basically there's like a scene with baby Drogon and they're like roasting marshmallows
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something, and they're talking about the the moon cracked into 2 is known. So I think that's the last time we had an "It Is Known."
Definitely.
Yeah,
It's been a while. That's all I had, Abby. The reins are yours.
Thanks. As long as they're not Castamirs, I'll
Not
take
anymore.
them.
Kyle Castamere.
We are going to Bravos. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as everybody's ready, get on the train here. Choot choot. A blind one, really? Come on, Benj.
A blind no one.
A blind no one and the waif. Arya begs for a chance and gets the crap kicked out.
Change.
Oh, a change. Yeah, you're right. A change and gets the crap kicked out of her. That was my bad, not his. I'll take the fault. Yeah, Luke, go ahead with this.
So they're showing Arya sitting here blind and dealing with that, and the wave comes up and kind of kicks her ass. And at the very end, the wave's like, "I'll see you tomorrow, but you won't see me." And then it's just like insert really cheesy 80s action music, like, dun, 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 dun. Like just, I get to
That's
see it,
just in my head.
it's just totally like, "Oh, I'll see you tomorrow, but you're not going to see me because you're blind, bitch." Like
It's like Bud or the bad guys from the Power Rangers. It's
Oh,
those type of insults.
Vulcan skull.
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
meatheads.
Definitely a bulk reference, or definitely a bulk style. I was thinking more Karate Kid at the skating rink of
Yeah.
"Ugh,
Cobra Kai, bitches.
Cobra Kai." Exactly.
Oh
Yeah, no, I mean, I really didn't have a note on the scene. I actually, it's hard because I love Arya and I'm a fan of at least this part of Bravos. There's parts of Bravos where it's like, okay, yeah, they're skipping stuff that I really like, but this for a quick scene as it was done well. It was cheesy, as Luke said, and sometimes you just need a little cheese. Sometimes a little cheese goes a long way. So,
if you say so, Glendog.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to see very well, Cotton.
It's a bold strategy. We'll see if it pays off for her.
Yeah. You know, it's just one of those, like, the wave comes up, hey, let's fight. And she's like, who? Wait, what? What's going on?
Here's your bow staff. Get ready.
What's the problem?
I thought I was just asking for quarters here. You did get
Poor
a
girl needs a
Bravosi coin
dog.
there, though. A little square one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that. I
fun.
didn't know if that was significant.
No, it's more of a book
Just-
reference than anything. Hey, there's different coins from different places.
Kind of like how
Cool.
there's like a penny and like a dime. Nickel.
It's kind of like that. And then there's
Or like
you know,
a yen and other forms of
There's
currency.
different currencies,
That's all I got.
all around.
Are we? I mean, we can definitely talk about currencies for a while. If we want.
Sure. I can bring out some examples if you'd like. They're very close.
Did anyone read the subtitles of the common the notes that were going on like in the chatter in the background?
I was trying to, again, doing pictures and stuff. It was hard to catch a lot of them, but
didn't have the guy from Westeros. It didn't have his name saying like his line, whoever that guy is that walks by.
Oh, the one speaking the common tongue.
Yes,
The very first.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I didn't. I forget what he said. But
he
yeah,
sounds
no,
familiar. But
They were basically all like, you know, we're not going to that brothel because there was a Kingsguard that got killed there. It was just kind of stuff referencing back to the last episode more than anything.
But it also shows that she's listening.
Right.
To
this is
everything.
her Assassin's Creed next playthrough.
Yeah.
Indistinct chatter.
Exactly.
Joe, you got anything on this one?
Not much. I did have stuff written down, and I realised in retrospect it's pretty much all spoilery, so I've cast that away.
Hey.
But yeah, I'm beating the same drum. It's just one of those episode 1 scenes that you've just got to slide into. Hey, remember, she's blind. Don't forget, she's blind.
Hey, let's play catch up. Hey, let's play catch up.
Blind Beth. Damn it, that's the name. It just hit me, and that's
there. You go. So imagine that you put Blind Beth in the intro to this scene instead of a blind no one. So there you go.
Yes,
it's all good now.
Blind Beth.
Do we know why she's blind? I mean, like,
she stole Mary Tran's eyes
because she can't see.
That's part of her punishment.
That's part of her punishment. That's it.
It's part of her training. It's not punishment. It's training.
Could be both.
Por qué no dos?
Who knows?
She's
the only other thing I had on this is a kind of it's kind of meta, but I do like the chemistry between Aya and the waif. And there's a series. I can't remember her name. I think it's Faye Marcy, the waif. She's in a British comedy series here called Fresh Meat. If you get a chance to watch it, do, because she's just the complete opposite of the waif as much as you could get. She's a brilliant actress. It's quality.
Right. Is it? Sorry, I just moved my notes, guys.
You're ruining everything, Abby.
So sorry.
All right, I guess it's time we vote Abby off. There goes the first time watch. Can't even keep her notes.
I am having a terrible time.
I'm sorry.
You're ruining Joe's experience, and that's really all that matters.
I'm really good at that. So you know,
really good at ruining things.
Is this Castle Black? Is this kind of our final scene?
It sure is. I believe it is a final scene.
Okay, well, hey, once an episode, final scene. Cheers it up.
Cheers.
Empty glass.
Mine's close.
Oh man, my husband and I are gonna be fighting. He just watched the fall finale for This Is Us Without Me. Oh, he's in trouble. He's in trouble.
You need to hurry this up so you can go whoop some ass.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I caught him red freaking handed sitting on the.
You say This Is Us?
Yes, This Is Us.
Okay, fair
Great
enough.
show. Judge me if you want. Don't care.
You watching it, I have no problem with, or I have no comment. You're fine. It's fine.
Okay, yeah, thanks. I will continue to live now. Happy.
Oh,
We are at Castle Black with Thorn, Bowman, Yarwick, Davos, and Melisandre. Thorn confronts Davos and offers him a free passage south if he surrenders along with the other Night's Watchmen, and Mel silently contemplates her life in her quarters.
and the next one.
Oh, in her digs.
There you go. I think that was a Glenn edition, probably.
Like you said, contemplates inner quarters, and I think it should be changed to inner digs.
Yeah, I think it should be. We gotta show some respect for the new digs.
Right.
New digs.
Fair.
Digs.
Fair.
Digs or digs. So, yeah, this is interesting. Anybody want to start us off
Why don't
here?
you start us off here, Ed?
You.
Yeah,
Oh.
go ahead. First time, watcher. Let's get your feelings.
I want to say like, oh, I totally knew this was coming. I'm so smart. No, I didn't know this was coming.
What?
Her taking off her goddamn necklace and being an old, but it doesn't surprise me. I hadn't figured it out. It's not exactly what I would.
WILF.
Yeah, what I expected.
Red G WILF.
For her, for what we've seen, the fact that this happens is a thing. It doesn't surprise me at all. It kind of freaks me out a little bit, but yeah, it's interesting. Not as what's the word? Like influential looking like that as you do when you put on your. I would assume it's a ruby gemstone necklace. So.
Yeah. So my note go start on the back end of it. This is a great reveal. It's a good nod for book readers who might have suspected stuff because there's stuff mentioned book wise that makes you think maybe she's older than she appears, but it's never really alluded to in the show. So it's a great shock. Like they don't really give any hints or anything. And so the way they did this was very well done and well crafted. A lot of times people are like, oh, they're just adding in. No, this is one of those that it's like, hey, it was hinted to in the books. We think it's this way from a book reader's perspective. We're not sure. And now the show's saying, yeah, it's this way. So it's like, okay, cool. And like the show watchers are like, holy shit, what the fuck? Because there's no hints to it throughout the whole season or through all the whole series.
Series that's never actually confirmed, just alluded to, or
yeah. So to add to what Benji was saying, Abby, for context for you, we're in a lot of these storylines past where the books are. Some were still kind of intermingled a bit, but we are almost entirely for a majority of the storylines are past where the books are. And so this was one that really stood out to me as like I knew, the theories out there, the references that, hey, this is probably a thing, like it kind of supports itself pretty well. And then the show just kind of drops this. It's one of the the earlier things that the show has been able to do. That it was just like either like confirmation that it was just like, all right, that's cool. I liked the way that they did it, and kind of like I'm entirely agreeing with Benji here.
I think it's really neat that just the idea of that's where you get your confirmation is in the medium of a television series or a movie. Like that's super cool. I'm not a book reader. I can't really have a.
I like how
feeling.
they did like that faded out mirror that you kind of see. You get the first look through that faded out mirror. You see her kind of take off her clothes and it's her, but then like you look through the mirror and then it just you get the whole change once she takes off the the necklace or whatever, and it was just kind of like it was really creepy the way it kind of came about, and it like very well done because it was so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Joe, any thoughts on the second half of the scene?
Yeah, this all sound like a indulgent plug, but it's not. It's the opposite. I've completely forgot until I rewatched this earlier today. This episode was one of the first I wrote about for Tower of the Hand when it came out, and I wrote specifically about this scene about the end. And I love it. I think it's brilliant. It's the look on her face. You can just see how everything has gone well, she doesn't have anything left, much like a lot of them, really. They've kind of reached that point. I think that's why you can see it's a turning point in the overall Game of Thrones series. Is nothing's really the same for anyone as it was now. And especially for her, Stannis is gone. Jon is laying on the table, and all these things, her entire personality is just kind of baseless. And I remember wondering if, does she take this necklace off every night, or has she kept it on, and is this the first time she's taking it off in hundreds of years? The theories flying around at the end of this episode about, was she getting in the bed to die? Was this her kind of white flagging it, or what? But it's a brilliant reveal to watch, and especially for, she only pops up for 2 seconds at the beginning of the episode, and then they kind of bring it full loop to remind you the stakes of what's happened to Jon, not just to him and the Night Watch, but everyone else as well.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Her face, in this, after the transformation happens, I mean, she's completely broken, right? I mean, literally everything that she's believed in has either come true in a different way or just is not even possible anymore. She's seen all these things in her flames, and even though Stannis not gonna make it, all of the belief that she had there. Jon Snow, in this episode, she was like, I don't understand, like, I just cannot fathom.
I saw him fighting on the parapets of Winterfell.
Exactly.
Or on the walls
and
of
so
Winterfell.
She literally just has no, like, Joe, you said it, she's baseless. I mean, everything that she's believed in is without any kind of precedent at this point, and it is just foundation shaking for her. And the mechanics of, taking the necklace off, I mean, clearly she's got it off and stands there for a little bit and still looks like Carice Van Houten, and then transforms a little bit later. But like, I still
always,
like the way it's done. But yeah, just really, really interesting theories abound, as Joe pointed out. It's good.
Exactly.
Stuff.
And again, because I do the screen caps and everything, this was a very tough scene to get because I wanted to make sure to get the emotion and get the stuff, but I had to go very slowly through the scene, and not for the reasons you're thinking. Those were other reasons, but to get the pictures of without showing too much. But the shout out to the graphics team and everything, because kind of same thing they did last episode with the walk body double. I wasn't sure if it was full CGI. I knew it wasn't full CGI, but I wasn't sure if it was full prosthetics and everything. But it's basically Carice Van Houten wearing a face prosthetic to make herself look old, and then imposing it upon the body. So that is actually her face that you're seeing.
They got that done in Bravos.
What do you mean?
Well, face transplant.
Oh yeah, okay,
Come
good
on.
one.
Yeah, right. I'm like, what the? Oh,
No,
sorry.
Can't take me anywhere.
My theory, the only logical explanation is this is similar to the movie Big, where she went to the carnival, she played that Zoltan thing or whatever, and then she became older.
Yeah, that's probably what it was. She got a bad fortune.
I have a question.
Or a good
It's
fortune, 'cause
specifically
you
for
wanted to be-
Glenn.
you wanted to be big.
I want to be big.
Yeah.
So, Glenn, when you think of these things, you're like, man, it's like in Big. And you're thinking about it, and you're like,
do you
okay,
mean?
cool. Can you do this? It's just an example. Just flow with me here. Ready? All right. So you talk all the time, these things. It's like this. And you mentioned it's like Big. Does this just come to you, the Zoltan Floppa, whatever the fuck you just said? And I'm sure that's exactly whatever thing she went into. Or did you have to Google after you
No.
thought?
No.
Have you seen?
People know Zoltan.
Have you seen the
yeah.
movie or no? Have you seen the
Have
movie?
you found the broken carriage in Red Dead Redemption 2? There's a Zoltan in there. Just
I do not watch.
I got 3 in tonight. Right.
Abby, I think you have like almost zero pop culture references down. is I think really the study that we've gone through in this podcast.
Yeah, basically, I've realized I don't watch TV or
Which is
play
why
on-
you're a perfect first time viewer. It was like
Or
she has
movies
no
made
idea
before
what
you
we're
were
talking
born.
about.
You know.
I probably was not.
No, Big was well before you were born. So
Glenn knows it, and
Well,
he's younger than me,
yeah,
so that's not really an excuse.
exactly.
I'm saying you
It's a
don't
good
watch
point.
movies from before you were born.
Tom Hanks is in it.
Yeah, Wilson, I get that. Come on. Did anybody see Rebel Wilson on Ellen as Wilson? That was hilarious shit.
I have not, but that actually does sound funny.
All right, let's move past the movie Big.
All right, so we're going to move back in the scene to Thorne confronting Davos.
Luke. No, it's with Luke. He has the best point here.
I have the best point.
Yeah, I love it. It's my favorite point of the whole
this was an instant one-liner. Whenever Davos is talking through the door, and he's like, they're like, "We'll let you leave and ride south, and we'll give you a horse or whatever." And he's like, "And some mutton? I'm not much of a hunter." It's like, it's just classic, classic Davos. Like, just keep asking, I guess. Like, see what they'll give you. It's not gonna work out in a positive way anyway. Just keep them talking.
It's the Airheads method. You have to ask for the randomest shit. I want a photo of B. Arthur naked, to release these hostages. They're not going to get B. Arthur naked, but you got to make them go look for it.
Glendog, have you gotten your thought off here, man?
Yeah, if you want me to go back into Big, I will.
No, Luke already told us.
Let's revisit.
He yelled at us. We can't do it anymore.
God, Luke sucks.
Yes, he does. Benj, I don't know. I was not listening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I haven't gone with mine on this part. It's a sad state of affairs when Dolores Ed is our only hope. Oh, fuck off, small ginger. Small torment. I'm using that reference now because Joe pointed that out, and I think it's the same guy. But oh, fuck off. He managed the top of the goddamn wall when Jon went down. And you know what? Y'all didn't die. You held the North. Ed did a good job up top. So, give the man some credit. And also, first shout out to actually his full name or nickname or whatever, Dolores. First time Dolores Ed has ever been said in the show as a full name. He's always been known as Ed.
That's a terrible name. Anyways,
Dolores.
Dolores. It's Dolores. Well,
okay. Dolores makes it much different to me.
However, fucking goddamn it, what's his name from the audiobooks?
Roy Dotrice.
It's Dolores. It's Dolores. It's Dolores.
But better than Dolores.
Watch Westworld for more on Dolores.
Yes.
Joe, do you have any final thoughts on our final scene?
The Davos back and forth, especially when he said, "Thank you, Sir Alistair." That's always a good bit.
We'll conspire together.
I think it's just part of, like we've mentioned throughout. You've got the Dothraki, you've got Tyrion, Varys, you've got Davos. I think they made a concerted effort to get Game of Thrones is always good for humor and one-liners, but there's more in it in this episode. I think generally, maybe because season 5 went quite dark and they didn't get the best reception. So I don't know if they purposefully made sure that this one was lighter, but it seemed to work either way.
Anybody else?
I'll second that. The jokes were almost all really funny. Like, it was like legitimately like well placed jokes, and it didn't seem like, oh, cheese telling jokes. It was just it felt natural for the characters at the time. So it was well done.
Good. All right, let's talk about the title accuracy. The Red Woman, yay or nay?
Sure, she was in 2 scenes, and it was a powerful ending.
Pretty big reveal, I think.
Yeah, and at least they stuck with the ending scene.
She has white hair at the end. I mean, I don't know. Should be the white woman, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I like my title better.
Zoltan?
No.
What's your title?
Red Woman I'd like to fuck.
Okay. So, Glenn, A or B?
Oh, definitely B.
Okay. All right. Well, solved.
Obviously, that's the only logical choice, right?
I think it's a good episode title.
And for the podcast listeners, make sure you go back and check out our YouTube video so you can see which screen caps Glenn is picking.
Ooh, so accuracy, season 6 premiere.
Yes.
Check. At Castle Black, Thorne defends his treason, while Ed and Davos defend themselves.
It's a good thing they said at Castle Black because I wouldn't have known. I thought they might have moved somewhere else.
Well, there's also the Alistar Thorn in, Vase Teloros. All over. There's
right,
several of
like
them.
there's John Smiths all over the place and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's real common.
Or like Jeff
Sansa.
Lebowski is a common name among two people.
Just like it. Sansa and Theon race the cold and the hounds. Yeah.
Sandor died like fucking 2 seasons ago. Oh, hounds. Never mind.
Yeah,
All right.
it's only-
Hounds, the dogs.
There's no hound.
I miss the Hound.
Yeah, I mean,
Sandor.
it actually, of all the descriptions, this one, and I don't know if I found the same ones you normally find, Luke, when I put this in.
Yeah, it was the
This
same.
one was, is it okay? So it's a very generic descriptor, which for a while they were giving away stuff. I mean, there were some ones that were.
They've pulled back
I mean,
a bit, it seems.
what's that?
They've pulled back a bit, it seems.
Yeah. They just said, "Hey, here's a couple of things that happen.
Mm-hmm.
You might be interested."
One thing that I find a little bit interesting about the descriptions is, like, when you're watching it live, they are really, really vague. And then when you watch again, like a week later, they've changed them. Not every single time, but there are multiple times that I've seen that they've adjusted it and like added another scene to it or adjusted the wording to it. And then there are times when, like, oh, I was writing these down, and it's like different than like what you're saying. Like, you'll find him somewhere and it says one thing, and you'll find him somewhere else and it has like a slightly different version of it. It's like I don't even know what is to be considered canon on on episode descriptions.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's one of those like this one. I prefer the style of descriptions. Just saying.
All right, let's go to our least favorite thing.
I have
Glenn.
a favorite thing typed in. Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah, the Dorn, Open Sea, Mumbo Jumbo. There's all that kind of. It just. I don't know. It's probably got like everyone's probably got the same one, but.
I'm gonna just jump in and say I agree with you for mine as the C part with specifically Tristane, because I didn't know where they were. I didn't know Tristane had gone with them or hadn't. I was very confused. So.
And like we said earlier, is some of these characters were not really developed, if at all, and they kind of just put the cap on it, and it was just kind of a waste of time, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. Benj?
Same. Arya going down with one hot dagger shot to the fucking lower back. It just for literally one of the people in the world that Jamie because there's a great video I saw a while back, or not a while back, but it's from Bridge 4. He put out basically the 3 people where Jamie said, I'm going to, there's only 3 men in this world that can, hold a candle to me. He proclaimed it was Sir Barristan and the 2 Clegane brothers. I'm going to throw in Arya Hota, one of the baddest fucking fighters there is. Going down to 1 stab wound? No, sorry. That just... fuck you. Give him the credit of stabbing him in the fucking medulla oblongata or something. In the back of the skull, cut the spinal cord, something. Not just 1 stab.
Alligators are so angry.
Because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
They're so hungry.
Yeah, he doesn't get that one, but that's okay.
Sorry, I'm reading my notes. I was trying to find my predictions for later. Luke, go ahead with your least favorite thing.
I'll just go ahead and quickly agree that it's basically most of the Dorn stuff. But my real least favorite thing is no bran. Still, no bran. What the hell?
Bran's good for your diet, man. Keeps the pipes clear.
Yeah, keeps the engine moving.
That's right. Joe, least favorite thing?
I'm just going to be boring and repeat Arya Hota going down to a teaspoon. Don't like it. At least they should have established him as rubbish if he's going to die that quickly. Don't have him stop a fight with like a word and punching bronze lights out. Just establish that he's got a really weak spot in his back.
My back is
Have him scratch it. I don't know.
Have him scratch
Achilles spine, man. It's
yeah. It's a thing. Joe, let's go right back to you. Do you have a favorite thing from this episode?
There's a lot, but if I'm picking one, it's still the the opening shot, the wall at kind of dawnish time, and just how they slowly zoom in on John just sets the tone straight away. It's a good shot.
Perfect. I will go next. My favorite thing in this is the Sansa Brienne exchange with the pod helping her figure out the words. I need a pod right now. Whatever they say. That part. You know what I'm talking about.
Exactly,
Meat and
yeah.
mead.
Yeah. And stuff.
And all that, yeah.
And jazz. Yeah.
And
Luke?
jazz.
And they also say, I'm not much of a hunter. What about some mutton?
We
No,
can wrap that into one.
I'm
That's
going to
fine.
completely agree with you, Abby. The pledge from Sansa and Brienne to each other, to me, was my favorite thing this episode, for the reasons we said earlier and for what you just tried to say.
Thank you so much. Benj?
So my honorable mention goes to a spear through the face makes every scene better.
The worst.
It just does. But my true favorite thing is I used to steal from people like you when I was a boy. Good thing you're not a boy because you have no cock. I love Varys and Tyrion together. They're just awesome, and I'm glad it's back.
Perfect. And Glendog, please finish this up.
Yeah, I like just Davos kind of taking responsibility for having John. I guess like seeing his dead body and like taking responsibility of what happened next until get him before all the crazies kind of go after him and kind of make a mockery of his dead body.
Davos is now Team Snow. Got it. He's a good dude. All right, let's go on to mention of some of our other podcasts. The podcast that must not be named is a Harry Potter podcast that goes chapter by chapter through the entire series. We are working on book 4 right now. You can check out more about that at thepodcastthat.com and listen to Luke and our older sister, Melissa, give very good insight. They're super smart.
With special guests of Abby and Benji every once in a while.
I'm not really that special. I just happen to appear on it. But Benji's special, and he appears there too. So you can watch or listen to that. Find us on Radio Public or wherever you get your podcasts. Now, over to the first time watcher on the wall predictions. Hi, Abby. Hi. Prediction number 1.
Throw it to myself.
Yeah, soft toss.
Let me introduce myself to myself.
Yes. As I've stated before, Lady Walda and Baby Boy Bolton are gunners. Probably Roose too. He's stupid. He cannot control Ramsay. He's setting them all up for failure. Number 2. During Thorne's speech, I thought it was well, I guess I got to do this one first. I think that the Red Woman is going to be able to save John. Or bring him back to life. Maybe not save him. He's dead, right? He's dead. So I think she's going to be able to save him. And a quick shout out for last time. I was thinking that possibly John might be able to get saved because I didn't want him to really be dead. And I was thinking that maybe Ghost would somehow have to be involved. So possibly Ghost has to sacrifice himself in some Red Witch type of ceremony, like the guy we saw and the Brothers Without Banners, because I know they both serve the Lord of Light, but maybe Ghost has something to do with him being able to do that.
So Miri Mazdor style, kill the horse.
Gotcha.
Yes, so
and Barrick and Thoros are kind of who you were.
Yeah.
So, you haven't thought about
So
their names in a long time. So.
Nope. Okay. And then going along with that, it will be prediction number 3. But moving right along with that thought is during Thorne's speech, he says, I have given my life to the Night's Watch. We've all given our lives to the Night's Watch. John fulfilled his vow. Now, I don't know if he'll leave the Night's Watch, but I feel like he's free to go. if he wakes up, if that makes sense. And lastly, I'm again gonna throw it kind of back to the last episode because this isn't covered in here. What's his name? Sam decides or asks to go to the Citadel, and I do feel like that's a good fit for him. That's where I wanted to say where he belongs, but Sam belongs with Gilly and John. So I think that them not allowing women or whatever, while he'll do fine there, I don't think that's where he's going to be, even by like the next 5 episodes. Like he would do well there, but he belongs with Gilly and John. That's his true place.
Okay.
That's all for predictions.
Nice job, Ab. You
And
definitely
for the first
speculated
time,
some
I had
things.
the inclination. I'm putting these in the actual chat.
There you go. It's
So
been a while. Oh, in the chat.
In the chat, no, yeah, and I've typed them in, but I am actually putting them in the chat. So if anybody in the future is watching this, you can see and bring up. If you're a slow listener like I am,
There you
you can
go.
actually see the chat go.
Cool.
So there you go.
Awesome. Okay. So we need to run through all our stuff here.
And did we, Glenn? Hang on, really quick, Glenn. No, he's gone. Did we come up with a new one? Chat, really quick. We need 1 minute. We need a house something. We have word, sigil, sword, religion, name, animal, home, newspaper, ancestor, minstrel, or fool. We need something else to add in because we're on a new season. We need a new thing. Any ideas of quick quips, or anything that you'd like us to throw in or hear?
Joe, do you have any ideas?
Yeah, Joe.
What do you think we should have?
Full disclosure, I did not scroll this far down on the, so I'm busy quickly making up everything else at the moment.
Gotcha.
So
go ahead.
Come back to me.
Go ahead.
So, what's a good? Damn, I mean, this is tough. We may have to wait till next episode on it.
We've done that before. I think.
Yeah, we have.
Glenny's on his way back.
All right.
Oh, Bannerman. That's not a bad one.
Who's your
Who's
your second
house thing?
I do have a suggestion, Luke. Who's your second family?
Second family, like your family in the mirror.
Yeah. No, I was meaning such as like the Starks have the Boltons, the Lannisters have the Casterly.
That's kind of how I was looking at the Bannerman. Like who's your
who's
your second in command house?
Dude.
Yeah, second in command house. Exactly. I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
unless Glenn has a better one.
We'll call it House Bannerman. How's that? Who's shown some allegiance to your house before?
If your house dies out, who's taking over?
All right, there we go. So I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. So Ben, since you picked it, you go first. We're going through the whole list.
All right. So my house name is Ben, aka Sly of House McLean. My house words are: it's dangerous to drink alone. My house sigil is 3 golden triangles on a field of red and black. My house sword is Konami. My house region is the Reach. We pray to the gods of tits and wine. We ride Peach all night long. Our animal of choice is Ares the Phoenix. Our ancestral home is the Tower of Hera. Make sure you watch out for Mordorn. Our hometown newspaper is the Daily Sun. Our famous house ancestor is my great uncle John. He's the savior of winter celebrations. Our house minstrel or fool is Nickeldum, the singing mime. And our house bannermen are... crap.
Good one. Good call.
Crap. And it'll be named next episode, so make sure you tune in. You can find me on Twitter at Sly McLean, SLYMCLAIN. And my final thought is this was a good start to the 6th season. A lot of people shit on season 5, and I'm learning wasn't that bad. This was a good build-up, a good rebuilding into, okay, we know we're off the books now. This is all new territory. and let's go.
Perfect. I will go next, give you guys some times to consider your considerations. I am Gertie of House Condescension. My words are we don't quit. My sigil is a field of white with a raven sitting up top upon a black appointed chevron. My house sword is Gunther. We live north of the wall. We pray to the old gods. My horse's name is Odin. My animal is JJ the honey badger. Our ancestral home is Gertie's gallows. We read the nightly raven. My famous ancestor is Casey Jones. My fool is we don't have a fool. We don't joke around. We kick ass. My house bannermen are the Wahlbergs. And my personal Twitter is @GoHomeGertie. Final thought. That necklace, taking off that necklace was whew, exciting. So there you go. Luke.
All right, I am Lucan of House Blackmead. Our house words is ours is the drink. Our sigil is an obsidian black chalice on a gold and blue checky background. I carry around Sweet Sting. It's a Valyrian steel axe. We originally were in the Riverlands, but we've recently moved to the Stormlands. We still rep the dem old gods. I still ride around on Cherry, the horse, and I've got Paris the parrot on my shoulder. We hail from Black Cask Keep. We read the drowned word. My famous house ancestor is Ashmere Rivers, and you will learn more about him later. Our house minstrel or fool, he's a fool named Dingle. And our house bannermen are House Karen of Night Song, and they're pretty cool. You know, like they've got a bunch of birds on a field of yellow, which is cool, on their sigil. So that's neat. And you can find me on my personal Twitter @LucaFerocious. And final thought, Joe mentioned this a bunch of times, but this definitely is kind of an episode 1. We've got to pick up the pieces of where things were left off and kind of overtell a few things here and there. But overall, I thought it was really, really well done. There were some parts that we kind of talked about. They're just trying to cut the fat a bit, mainly with Dorne. But overall, a pretty solid episode, I think.
And Abby, if I may interject, I did come up with a house bannerman.
Go for it.
The posseers, the ones you want to ride with.
Perfect.
Sticking with my video game, mentality. The posseers. There we go.
I like it. I dig it. Glenn, you're up next.
So I'm Glenn of House Dog. House words, you miss 99% of the shots you don't take. House Sigil, the Spuds McKenzie with the Wayne Gretzky jersey on. My house sword is Johnny Utah. House Region is the Veil. House Religion, the New Gods. Horse name, horse meat, or Horus. Animal, Rich the Flying Squirrel. Ancestral home, the castle at Beast Mountain. Hometown newspaper, the Moon Door Bee. Famous house ancestor, Duffy. House minstrel or fool, Berube. House bannerman, House Charlie of Shell Hughes. Personal Twitter @Popsicle Stand. Final thought, this was just kind of, your run-of-the-mill first episode of season 6.
I'm gonna need a reference on that, but we'll
That
do
is
later.
all inside. That is all inside for Charlie. Charlie
So-
the Shell Hughes.
So, per our old school instructions, when Veggie doesn't get a fucking reference, everybody drinks. And
Inside reference. When you don't
Inside
get something,
reference.
I would be fucking drunk as
inside
a skunk.
reference. Yeah, inside reference.
All right, and lastly, but not least, Joe.
All right, you can rate my improv skills after. I am Sir Joe. I'm guessing that means I'm of House Buckley too. My house words are, well, how the turntables have... My house sigil is a blue lion on a field of yellow. My house sword is Johnny West. My house region, I did live in the Stormlands, but then I heard there was an opening in the Riverlands, so I've now moved there. I serve the old gods. My horse name is Joe's Horse. He serves me well on Skyrim. My animal is Douglas the gorilla. My ancestral home, I completely didn't read that one, so I don't have one. Forgive me. Take me down a grade, please.
It's a really long name for the place that you live in.
I know, but they find my address easy.
It's easy.
My hometown newspaper is Tuesdays with Tarly. My famous house ancestor is Nicky Flannel. My house minstrel, or my house fool, is Sir Joe Buckley. I do it all. I'm multi-talented. My house bannerman is House Shroot of Beet Farm. My personal Twitter is @Sir Buckley. That's SER. I always forget. And my final thought is that this episode, considering the cliffhanger of season 5, is probably the most not hyped but pressured episode of Game of Thrones probably throughout that they needed to get right. And I think they did a good job. I like season 6. I love season 6. And this is a good, solid foundation for it.
Yeah. Well said.
Very well said. So, I think that does it for us, right, guys?
And Joe, one quick thing, Joe, scroll down a little bit further. You got another pink box you got to fill out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
But
Well, give me
20,
25 minutes. I'll be ready.
Oh, boy.
No, I'm good.
I'll have to read very slow. It could happen, though. Become a patron to get access to our epilogue episodes, t-shirts, mugs, and glassware in our seasonal merchandise clubs. Learn more at patreon.com/stay-imaginary. For all the ways you can keep our beer bank full, check out the podcastthat.com/support us. A huge thank you to our special guest. So, special guest, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. I love this is the best way I've ever spent 2 to 4 a.m.
Oh my God. Bless you. Poor guy. Barring any scheduling mishaps, join us next week as we kick off episode 2 of season 6.
And with special guest Crow Food's daughter. Find her on YouTube.
Find her on where?
On YouTube at The Disputed Lands.
Okay. You can follow us on Twitter at Know and Drink. Send us a digital raven at knowandrink@gmail.com. Please subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube. And until next time, as always, I still don't know, so I'll just drink.
As always, don't turn your back on the wolf pack.
As always, winter is coming in. So am I.
As always, that is exactly what she said.
And as always, stay imaginary.
Cheers.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.
All right. I
All
think
right.
we're going to call that for the live stream early. And
Okay.
we appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, this chat, I literally lost track of it for a good while. You guys have killed it on
I
this.
sent the messages like, I haven't checked this in a while. Did
Yeah,
I miss
I know, I
anything?
saw that. But yeah, you guys, this was awesome. Probably one of our most chatted streams
Active.
in a while. Most
Why was I
active.
hosting? God, I can't host
Because
and
you're not-
read and
Because
chat
you're not allowed
at
to
the
be in
same
the chat
time.
anyway. So
Oh,
it's
shit,
fine.
man.
I know. I'm
Our
kidding.
beautiful mods do a great job at
They
it.
really do, and there were a few times where some stuff
I
was
saw
put
some
up,
redacted.
and
Yeah.
I just
it
breeze
was-
over it.
well, I know, but it was
Ugh.
quickly removed, and so thank you to
Aw.
our beautiful mods on that.
And thank you to our
And so-
not beautiful mods. We don't want to leave you guys out too.
Yeah.
I-
Jeez
No
Louise.
judgment. You know.
God damn.
But
Yeah.
I
we
can't
will
wait to
s-
read your chat
Tell 'em
later.
how you
We
really
did have
feel.
some love for our special guest. His sultry tones influenced a few female viewers, which says something. You know, they're
one
like,
of them, one of
"Who?"
them said, "Oh, hi, Luke, Ben, Glenn, Abby, and British guy." I saw that comment early on.
That. Oh no, I'm talking later on. They're like,
I-
who is that voice? Who is that guy? And
Just
I'm
got
like,
married. I've timed this all completely wrong. Oh,
Yeah.
and
no.
because she's a friend of mine, I was like, here's his Twitter. Here you go.
You got married just a couple months ago, right, Joe?
July, yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Well, no,
congratulations.
congratulations.
Yes, I'm very poor now.
Like all good husbands.
Oh, how
It's
the
okay.
turntables have.
Exactly.
All the turntables have.
And on that note, goodbye, chat. Thank you for joining
Love
us.
you.